Hey everyone, we are Britt and Drea from motherhoodalliance.com, and we are excited to welcome you to a 4-episode series with Dr. Mitch Sutton, a chiropractor and the founder of Reclaim Health. Dr. Mitch is a powerhouse of knowledge. You're going to learn that in these 4 episodes, as he specializes in not only the nervous system, but also immune dysfunction, barrier permeability, which is the gut and the brain-blood barrier connection, mold toxicity, eczema, allergies, asthma, autoimmune, and neurodegenerative disorders. Using advanced testing and targeted support, Dr. Mitch helps patients truly connect the dots of their health in order to understand how their body is actually functioning so they can stop guessing and they can actually start healing. And when he's not helping patients reclaim their health, he is a husband and a dad of 2 girls. We are really excited to introduce him to you now. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Motherhood Alliance podcast. We are back here with Dr. Mitch from Reclaim Health, and we have had just awesome conversations on all things immunity, blood-brain barriers, all sorts of stuff. If you guys haven't listened to any of those, make sure you start at episode 1, go 1, 2, 3. Well worth your time. Just so much information. And Dr. Mitch not only educates us, but he also gives us so many things that we can do even just while we're at home, like the things that you have in your kitchen, like just really great stuff. I just highly recommend taking a listen to that. We're going to kind of switch gears a little bit in this episode. We're going to be talking about mold. And this is something I think a lot of people are getting more in tune to. It's definitely something that affects, I think, more people than we realize. And I know for you, Dr. Mitch, you actually have a personal story on how this had affected your family. I guess, why don't we start with what is mold? And then maybe if you don't mind, go into kind of your story and how you found this out. And, you're so healthy, your family's doing great, but something you just couldn't figure out and you had to do your own detective work.
Yeah. Oh, man. Mold is never, no, this is one of those things. That is never the first thing that I ever want to jump to for somebody. But it's also kind of, the process of elimination a lot of times. Now, for us, it turns out that we had toxicity in our house. And my oldest, I think she was probably around, maybe 4 months of age. And all of a sudden started having some blotchy skin, started breaking out and having some of these issues. And there's this whole confidence hit of, we do all the right things and we do this and we do that, right? Like we live this lifestyle, but why is this happening? And, we went through the usual culprits, like, okay, let's look at food stuff. Let's see what my wife was eating at the time. And if there was anything that was passing through into breast milk that was creating some issues, we did that. Right. Like I think she's every 6 months we did a food test on her and just it continued to get worse. Continued to have more and more stuff and bigger reactions to things. And I was like, it's not the food. Okay, let's look at infectious agents. We ran a stool test. Nothing spectacular showed up in that. But equally, then at the same time, my wife was also having some issues of her own that 2 completely different symptom presentations. And this is also when COVID stuff was in, so we were home all the time. And all of a sudden, right again, I ran urine, I ran blood, I ran hormone, I ran all of the things that I knew and nothing was changing. And then it just kind of dawned. I was like, it's the environment. What is it that we're constantly being exposed to that is creating issues? And so I basically did 3 different tests. Okay, little, you get your little petri dish tests that you put in the corners of places to see what was going on there. I did a reactivity test with my daughter and I did an actual toxicity level test with my wife. And basically this is all the same one. So I was like, ding, 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 we got a winner. And yeah, cleaned up, all the places that we suspected that were anything that was going on, and we got out of there. Now, in this process too, right? Understanding this, there's a great book. His name's Dr. Neil Nathan. It's called Toxic. Technically, 25% of the population cannot remove the toxin from mold. And yes, fungal species, mold stuff, right? Like infectious agent, but it's not necessarily the infectious agent. It's the toxins that are released by it. And that's what creates a lot of issues.
When you
Now,
say that they can't release it, you're saying once it's in their system, they can't clear it
yeah,
out of their body?
they can't detox it appropriately.
Oh.
Yeah. So that sucks.
Yeah, that's a lot of people.
And this is why too, like, I was like, well, why am I not affected? How come I feel fine? Right. Like I'm in the same house, right. All of these pieces. And turns out that my daughter has my wife's liver, right? Like it's that whole thing. But there's a lot of different like elimination processes that get inhibited. But also technically some of these toxins also go and block more of those liver pathways. Basically, you clog the funnel with the toxin. And so then over time, you just continue to build more and more and more and more toxins circulating through your system, which is why things progress and get like way worse.
Yeah, let's stay sciencey for a second, because in prior episodes we talked a little bit molecular mimicry, which is something that you're seeing a lot with autoimmune or those types of things. So first of all, mold, if there's mold in your drywall and you don't even know it, how is that getting out to you? What are we actually inhaling? And then what is it doing in the body? Is it, you just mentioned liver, is mold always kind of affecting our liver, or is it affecting other things? So
this is now technically just tying a bow on all of this stuff. You either inhale it or you ingest it. So it directly affects a barrier. And so once that is stuck inside some of those tissues, then that's where you're also seeing some of that constant inflammatory response that stimulates and affects a barrier, which then again is what shifts immune system, which is where, again, then it led me down this entire path of, okay, how does immune system work? And what's the asthma and the allergies and the eczema? And then, okay, that's exactly how an autoimmune system presents. And then that's exactly how degenerative brain issues go. All of those things kind of, I mean, truly, it forced me to do this because I had the conversation with the pediatricians. I had the conversations with the allergists. I talked to anybody who would talk to me of like, why is this happening and what's going on? And, you know, here's your steroid, here's your this, here's your that to suppress some of these things. And, oh, they're going to grow out of it. Nope. So again, just if a lot of these issues, and I feel like a majority of people that do this, they've had to do it out of necessity because they've had to solve some of their own issues that have happened in their family.
So for you guys, you were living in an environment that had it, and so they were constantly getting doses of it. For somebody who has maybe they stayed in an Airbnb for a week and that had mold, and then they leave and they go home where there is no mold. You just said 25% of the population can't clear that on their own. So how much does it affect? Let's talk about the 75% of the population that can. Is that something where they might get some like mild symptoms and then their body can detox it on their own? Or how does that work?
Yeah, for the most part, right? Like depending on how long that you've been in that environment, are you going to get some possible increased, sinus mucus? Are you going to clear your throat a little bit? May have a little skin irritation with some of those things. And you leave and you go home and everything goes back to normal.
Okay,
right?
So it's like no big deal for
when you
people.
see those, right? Because when you see, increased mucus production, skin issues, lung, whatever, that's just a sign of something irritating and inflaming the system. And if those things resolve, then you kind of be like, well, that inflammation is no longer there and everything's kind of okay. But when it persists, that's when we start to see, oh boy, okay, what part? Because yes, the toxin's the issue, but you can't eliminate the toxin if it already set off this reactive state and things. You got to deal with the reactive state first before you can start eliminating some of the things, because if you push it too hard, too fast, then you explode all that stuff back inside the system, and then you see things flare up worse. It's a nightmare.
Wow.
Yeah, but and then two, understanding which one that it is. Each mold toxin affects a certain elimination detoxification pathway in the body. So understanding which one it is then also tells you what pathway that needs to be supported then also each toxin has a higher affinity for certain binders. Charcoal works great for some it doesn't even touch. Some it's bentonite clay, there's something called Saccharomyces boulardii. There are all certain ones that have a higher affinity for these things, and knowing which one it is what helps you get rid of it. It helps to know the path of what to walk through to go through some of that stuff.
So
But
let's say somebody's having some symptoms, you figure out it's mold. I'm just trying to process, like, obviously if it's in their home, then you have to remediate the environment, right? You have to change the environment if that's where it's stemming from. But like how are you testing to know, first of all, what's the type of mold, what's the system, like what
yeah,
you just talked about, what's the binder you need, what's the so and so you need,
yeah.
and then
So
the whole
there's
process of changing your environment, like wholly overwhelming.
correct. Right. So it's first you see what it is. Is this what it is? There's a urine test that is helpful, but not always helpful because that shows your ability to detox. But if that's inhibiting your body's ability to detox, then you may not see that show up on that test. There's a blood test that full on is going to tell you. There's something called C4A that is a complement immunological marker that it elevates screaming high when you got mold stuff. There's something that's called melanocyte stimulating hormone that is going to be super low. There's VEGF that's important. There's another one that's called VIP that show certain inflammatory blood flow things, right? Because technically, stimulation of new blood vessels come from hypoxic tissue. So how white blood cells kill stuff, okay, is that it takes the water inside the cell and then it steals from oxygen from the surrounding tissue and turns it into hydrogen peroxide. So then that tissue becomes hypoxic, right? You're not getting the oxygen there. So then your body's going to create more blood vessels around that tissue to try and continue to feed the oxygen to the area. And those are all tissues that kind of show you all those things. That blood test is spectacular at, yes, ding, 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 this is hands down for sure. But then if you could do both of them, then it tells you 100% we have it, and this is the one that it is, and this is the direction that we have to do to get it out of the system. And there's this piece, you have to baby step it. You got to pull a little bit, because if you pull too much, you're going to explode it. But then the more that you eliminate, the more that you can do to pull it, right? So you slowly build into this process.
Snowball.
Yeah. Yeah. Some of the classic signs, if that's where you're going with this, there's the constant thirst. There's this weird stiffness in your neck, not an adjustment headache type of a stiffness. There's also you're just chronically in pain. There's this also MMP marker that's on there that basically is burrowing through your tissues. That's creating more inflammation because of the toxicity, which creates a lot of pain. This one always gets me every time. Weird, constant static shock. Yeah, I know.
Okay.
So,
you know what's funny
okay.
is I'm laughing, but there's somebody listening right now that's going, "That's me."
Yeah, right.
So,
I had women that she was holding on to such a like an electric charge that she'd walk past a computer and the computer would fritz out.
What?
Yeah, it's wild. So
She has a superpower or something.
Yeah, so why that happens? There's this blood marker. It's called melanocyte stimulating hormone that is made from the same, they call them prohormones. You have the beginning structure of a hormone, and a lot of times it breaks off into two hormones. That MSH comes from also this hormone called ACTH, right? Adrenal corticotropin hormone, which is what basically tells your adrenal tissue to maintain your normal blood fluid. So if that's low, then you're not maintaining your normal fluid level, and you're shoving water out of your kidneys all the time, and you got to pee a lot, which you're also then, right, pulling the electrolytes out of the system as well, which then you're creating this imbalance in just the normal electrolyte like charge that's in your body, which is why then you have a lot of static shock. But that's also why you got pee a lot, and that's also why you get like lightheaded and dizzy and all those pieces.
Very interesting. Well, I feel like it is almost helpful that there's some specific symptoms that are unique, because I guess originally
right?
I was kind of thinking people all the time are walking around just not feeling well, right? And that's why they seek out people like you, where they're like, oh, I'm having some some weird stuff on my skin is a little bit weird, and I just constantly feel like like I'm a little bit bloated all the time, and I don't know if it's my hormones, but something is off. They just know something is off. So it is helpful to hear that there's some unique symptoms to mold. But at the same time, as you were talking before, it sounds like some of these tests that you run, if somebody's just like, I have no idea what it is, if it's hormones, if it's my gut health, if it's mold, somebody coming to someone like you can do tests, and the tests will tell you, hey, red flag, it's mold.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And usually people are coming in with a bunch of tests already ran, in the sense of some quality testing that's like, nobody can figure out what this is. It's like, oh my God. You don't want to hear those words, because if this is what it is, then we're in for a journey here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. When we're talking detox, we're also are we talking like cleaning out your liver, your kidneys? How are we
So
detoxing?
well, and this is the catch of this too. It depends, because again, each toxin likes to sequester in certain organs. There's this whole, like, it's hepatobiliary recirculation process. Your body tries to conserve your bile, so like reabsorbs it. Okay. Now, if again that inability to eliminate and it holds on to that bile, then you recirculate that toxin back inside your system. There are some that directly affect kidney. There are some that directly affect liver. There are some that directly affect neurological function. There's some that directly affect immune system. There's some that also reproductive organ. All of those have, identifying which one it is also helpful to know which route do we need to go through in order to help start working on eliminating some of the stuff inside the body. Now, are you constantly being surrounded by it? Do you need to change your environment? Or have you had this past exposure, and yes, you've changed environments throughout the years and something still persists? There's that conversation that needs to be had with it too.
When you are talking about mold, I do think about windowsills, or they get the condensation, they can get the black mold. What are some other common areas that people might be having exposure to mold, or different types of mold to just be aware of, whether it's in your kitchen that you're not food mold, or what are some other areas just to be aware of?
We're super sensitive to this now. We check all of these things. Coffee machine, that has some sneaky amount in there sometimes. We get our air ducts clean pretty regularly, because there's certain things that get stuck inside there. Honestly, this is helpful. Everybody go home that's listening, go home and crank your bathroom fans to the highest unit that it can. Okay. So just, in the bathroom fan, right? There's different speeds that it goes through. If you can crank that and just crank it all high as possible to just get rid of the humidity, the excess humidity from sitting in there, because we've all been guilty of sitting in the shower for 30 minutes, super hot, because it just feels great. Ozone emitting air purifiers. We have a couple of those in our house. And actually this ozone is really neat, because there's studies that show that it actually goes and kills it in the home.
Quick question on that, and then I want you to continue your checklist that you're going through, because this is really important for people to hear. But when you say something like that, this is just how my brain thinks, especially because we're always being thrown new wellness solutions. So the ozone thing, if it's killing mold, does it have any negative effect on humans? Because if it's killing something that's alive, technically, how does it not have a negative effect on us?
So technically what it does is it breaks down the cell structure of particulates in the air. Okay. When there's light coming in from the window and you see all the fuzzies, those are all just like air particulate stuff. So what ozone does is it goes and it breaks that structure, and it all just drops to the floor. Now, technically, house air is 5 times more full of junk than outside air is. Can there be some, I'll say a little bit of some sensitivity, like especially breathing in, like if there's some stuff that's in your nose, right? Like if there's some stuff that's in your lung tissue, 100%, right? But also saying this, people go and get ozone therapy, right? Like they shove ozone directly inside your veins, right? To just oxygenate the system. All that's doing is you're just creating a higher oxygen rich environment, which that's what healthy bodies do in general. You may have to walk into it a little bit, because if you just have stuff that's stuck inside nasal cavity or stuck inside lung tissue, can you feel some negative effect from some of those things? Yes. But it's the part of 100%. I've been breathing it in for years. We're doing fine.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes. I always just need a little bit like, oh, wait, what? Okay, so continue on
well,
your
and even
list of
to
other
work,
things.
holistic dentist, you do your ozone therapy. It kills all the bacteria, the plaquing.
Yeah.
That's what you use it for.
Sure.
It's
Okay,
just
cool.
super high amount of oxygen, basically.
All right.
So.
What else are you checking in your home?
Or
in your car, or in your wherever else we should be thinking about. Shower. Yeah.
Bathrooms are important. We, again, with the whole bathroom fan, and like I probably clean out the grout pretty often, more than most, or my wife makes me do it. And then also the caulk, right, and all the silicone stuff that you put in there, I replace that every once in a while. Where you have pipes, honestly. Well, and this is to check in basement, making sure that there's no cracks in foundation and you have water leaking in certain places. It's such a...
What about fireplace? Like would there be anything with that potentially?
Honest, that's a great question.
Yeah.
I don't have a great answer for you on that one.
If there's any leaking, I suppose. But
yeah, correct. It's the piece of, again, know or go where you know water could have the possibility of leaking out into your house. So kitchen, bathrooms, where those pipes are going to be coming through.
Yeah. And windowsills, I feel like, are
windowsills. Yeah, we clean ours, we do the whole shebang every year, do all the things, right? But again, saying it, your body has the ability to deal with it, but 25% of people have a hard time. And that's where, okay, making sure that you do the appropriate things and help your body eliminate whatever binder that's needed based on what the results are. Of sometimes we do that every once in a while. This is just because I can do it. I retest my family and just be like, hey, we're checking these things where we're at, like what's going on, making sure that we're all healthy, all those pieces.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it's just really encouraging for someone who, if they ever experience this, which hopefully they don't, but if they do, they can come to someone like you. They can get the whole family tested, and through those tests, you can understand who's going to be able to detox better than others, right? And then you can help them through this journey. Man, I feel like mold is just one of those low-level fears that everybody has of, is there mold in my house? Especially if you're dealing with chronic things. Like my son has always had eczema and allergies, and we've gone through numerous things to help start to ease it, but it's just always like, oh, is this the culprit? So and
this is more often than like, oh my God, Brittany, I don't want to say this, right? But with kid stuff, usually there's some sort of environmental thing that's triggering something. Usually, like, because what else? You haven't been around enough to hurt your body, like in some of those scenarios.
Yeah. Well, I think all 4 of these episodes together, though, these were so great. I love how we got a little sciencey, but also realistic. I think you're so easy to talk to. I really appreciate you being willing to come onto the podcast and talk through these different topics with us, because no matter what somebody's going through, there is testing that can be done. There are things that we can do to work, to work through it and to change our environment and change our body. And like you said, you're not like a magic wand guy that's going to just tap them on the head and things are going to be fine. They have to be willing to put some work into it, but like there is hope in resolving these issues. So I appreciate you coming on. We always end our 4-episode series with our guests by asking, though, what is the future of Reclaim Health? What does the future hold for you?
Oh man, I love this. I don't know how to not do this. Everything that comes out of me is something to do with how your body works and the health of it. And I'm hoping that someday, and again, this is not me, this is being passed through me, right? Like, and whenever that I'm not able to do this anymore, that somebody else is going to take on the torch. But I don't ever want to stop seeing patients, because you lose just the reality of the situation sometimes, because we're all people and we all got stuff and we're all in this together and trying to help each other out in whatever way that we can. I've thought about like reclaim farms, right? Like, okay, making sure food and going through this. There's also a piece like a mineral spring. There was actually, this was really neat, when we went to Bozeman, Montana, and there's this natural spring, and my daughter went in there and like skin issues were gone. In just some of those things, I was like, that's really cool. That would be something really neat to also have, right? Yeah, I don't know. I'm writing a book right now. It's literally like, it has to do with your barriers. And again, through all of the education that I've gone through, like nobody just specifically talks about this piece of what you could do and why, and where is that going to go? Who knows?
When do you anticipate that coming out?
No idea.
Okay. Yeah. It's just works between family and all the other stuff, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah. I've had one of my chiropractic buddies. He did a book, and this was a couple years ago, and just like, okay, how did you do this? And it's just jot down all your stuff, like whatever thoughts, and you organize it. Wherever it comes together, it's going to come together. And also too, I know that my knowledge is never going to be fully done in learning some of these things. And are there going to be more stuff that I'm going to want to put in there that's important to see?
So you have lots of ideas. So we're excited to continue to follow you.
I feel like you need to get on Ben Bickman's podcast and some of these other guys, you'll have to promote your book on there, and that's how you're going to take off and get on the grand
stage.
We'll
get there. We'll get there.
Yeah. Well, I see it for you.
Yeah, we could be your first podcast experience. We're excited. Yeah. We're excited for everyone to be able to listen to these episodes and share them. I think so many people are going to be impacted by just even the education that you've shared through these. So thank you again for joining us.
No, thank you very much. I very much enjoyed this.
If you enjoyed this episode, would you consider leaving a rating or review or sharing it directly with a friend who could benefit from the information? We know that you're a busy mom or caregiver, and our goal is to make your life easier by bringing tips and tricks directly from experts into your earbuds. By sharing this episode with someone you love, you can play a critical role in helping to make their life easier as well. We appreciate your time, and thank you for being a part of the Motherhood Alliance family.